Well, get your popcorn ready because it is playoff time in the Lone Star State. I'm Zach Poff here on MaxPreps.com, and today we're going to take a look at the 6A Division I and Division II playoff brackets. And we got to start with Region 1 in Division I. And you know, we got to start with the back-to-back state champs in Allen. And it's crazy to think, though, this side of the bracket is absolutely loaded, so it's going to be tough for Kyler Murray to try and win his third consecutive state championship. Kyler Murray now is arguably the best player in the country. The 2015 Texas A&M commit has led Allen to 37 consecutive wins, which is currently tied for the 8th longest active streak in the country. Murray and Allen enter the 2014 postseason as the number 3 team on our excellent 25 rankings presented by the Army National Guard, and they lock horns with 6-4 Keller Central Saturday night at AT&T Stadium. Now, it's crazy to think that Allen and DeSoto could meet up in the second round, but if they both win their opening round games, they have a date for the 3rd consecutive postseason. All signs are pointing that DeSoto is getting their starting quarterback back for the playoffs and 4-star junior sensation Tristan Wallace. He's been practicing for the last couple of weeks after fracturing his ankle in the second game of the season, and in his only full game as a starter, he threw for nearly 300 yards and rushed for 200 plus to go along with 7 total touchdowns against Arlington Martin. And having a healthy Wallace is big time for the DeSoto Eagles. Now, DeSoto, they have a very tough first-round matchup on Thursday night against Charles West and Capel, who come in 6-4. And last year, when these two met up in the postseason, DeSoto barely escaped with a 34-30 win in one of the best playoff games of 2013. Now, looking at some other matchups in Region 1 real quick, Soso Jamabo and Plano West lock horns with Keller. Now, looking at Jamabo, this kid is really one of the best running backs in the country, and the 4-star running back has rushed for nearly 2,000 yards and 38 touchdowns so far this year, and he's helped lead Plano West to their best regular season start since 2004. Plano West potentially has a second-round matchup with Euless Trinity awaiting, who entered the UIL Texas State playoffs 9-1. And I'm telling you, keep a close eye on Trinity. The Trojans have one of the best rushing attacks in the state with Jerron Wilson and quarterback Tyler Natee. And I know offensive linemen don't get enough love, so I got to give a shout out to Patrick Vahe, the 6'3", 300-pound, 4-star offensive lineman who is committed to ball for Charlie Strong in Texas next season. And this dude is really one of the best offensive linemen in the country. Now, shifting gears to Region 2 real quick, and we got to start with the top seed Dallas Skyline. The Blue Raiders entered the UIL Texas State playoffs 10-0 and finished the regular season as the number 7 team on our excellent 25 presented by the Army National Guard. Skyline has 2 of the best position skill players in the country in Texas Tech commit Carlos Strickland and 3-star wide receiver Savon Rollison. The 2 seniors have combined for 24 TDs this year. The Raiders take on 4-6 Lake Highlands on Friday night at Forrester Field. Now, before we jump ahead to Division 2, one last team I have circled in Region 2 are the Jaguars from Mesquite Horn. They finished the regular season 9-1, and I think they have the best chance to potentially knock off Skyline if they meet up in the quarterfinals. While Bishop Gorman sophomore sensation Tate Martell has stolen most of the spotlight among sophomores, Horn has themselves one of the best in the country in 4-star quarterback Chris Robeson. He has thrown for nearly 3,000 yards and has a 32-7 touchdown to interception ratio, and this kid can absolutely sling the rock. Robeson and Horn take on 7-3 Irving MacArthur Friday night at DeSoto's home field. All right, baby, let's move on to Division 2 now, and we got to start with the defending state champs, the Cedar Hill Longhorns. Now, it's been a roller coaster ride for Cedar Hill this year. They started the season as our preseason number 1 team, then had a tough loss to Skyline, answered that with a big-time road win at DeSoto, then followed that up the next week with a 49-34 loss to Mansfield, and in their regular season finale, they needed a game-winning touchdown with no time remaining to squeak by 5-5 South Grand Prairie 37-35. Now, the reason why I wouldn't be nervous if I was a Longhorns fan is because this team has a ton of senior leadership, and it all starts with 6'3", 5-star wide receiver DeMarcus Lodge. and this kid loves shining in big-time games. Against DeSoto on national TV, he had 200-plus yards receiving and 3 TDs. And in last year's 5A Division II championship game against Katy, he had 130 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, another name to keep tabs on during the 6A Division II playoffs is USC commit Cedric Ware. The senior running back has over 1,600 yards on the ground this year with 22 TDs, and during the playoffs last year, he rushed for 819 yards and 8 touchdowns. Cedar Hill's road to back-to-back state crowns starts Saturday afternoon against Colleyville Heritage at AT&T Stadium. And it's crazy to think how tough Region 1 is in Division 2. You have Denton Geyer, Arlington Lamar, McKinney Boyd, San Angelo Central, Arlington Bowie, but the only team that finished the regular season undefeated in Region 1 was South Lake Carroll. The Dragons are led by their 3-star dual-threat QB, Ryan Agnew. The 6'1", 180-pound senior has thrown for nearly 2,000 yards and has 17 total touchdowns this year. And keep a close eye on their stud running back, Little Jordan Humphrey, who has rushed for 1,400 yards and 22 touchdowns this year. Agnew and Humphrey are trying to lead Carroll to their 9th state championship, which would put them all alone in Texas for the most in state history in high school football. All right, let's take a look at 2 more teams real quick. And shifting down to Region 2, a team that has a chance to win their first football state championship since 1963 is the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. They finished the regular season a perfect 10-0, and they have 2 of the baddest dudes in the country, and 4-star running back Chris Warren and Xavier Castile. The 2 seniors have combined for nearly 4,000 total yards this year to go along with 50 touchdowns, and they lock horns with 7-3 Caparis Cove Saturday afternoon at McLean Stadium. Now, I gotta save the last spot for the number 10 team on our excellent 25 rankings presented by the Army National Guard, the Manville Mavericks. They finished the regular season a perfect 10-0, and a potential quarterfinal matchup with Katy could go down in Region 3. Since 2010, Manville has been one of the best teams in the Houston area. Head coach Kirk Martin has led them to a 59-8 overall record, and they are 11-4 in the playoffs since 2010, but he is hoping this is the year they advance to the Final Four and find a way to bring home the school's first ever state championship. Well, that is all the time we have on this playoff special featuring some of the teams in the state of Texas. And of course, if you want to check out all of the brackets in the state of Texas, just go to maxpreps.com/playoffs. Once again, I'm Zach Poff here on maxpreps.com, America's source for high school sports.